Congressman Paul, thanks for joining us. I want to find out first and foremost, out of so many people know you, your name recognition this time around is much better than it was 4 years ago. But I went to the Gallup poll and I saw your positive intensity score, sir. You are not up there with the positive intensity score. What's going on? People know who you are this time, but why are you not getting a better reaction from the Republicans?
Well, you have to be careful on reading the polls. You know, the other day when they announced the fundraising, of course, Mitt Romney was way up on top and I was second. But when it was reported on TV, they listed it somehow or another, they just excluded my name. So all the polls have to be looked at carefully. The polls, of course, they don't put me at the top. But if you compare where we are today, where we were 4 years ago, it is amazing how much further the country has come around to being concerned about the economy and being concerned about personal liberties and TSA agents and being concerned about the spending overseas. The atmosphere has changed nationally and it's changed even on the House floor. So I think the debate is coming in my direction, no doubt.
Well, I'll give you one poll that you came in number one. That was in Texas, where they said, all right, all the people in Texas. And I think that the big mark there was, of course, the governor of Texas, Rick Perry. He's not in. You know, he's flirting with it, but a lot of people are interested in him. But you beat him handily in his own backyard.
Yeah, and I was pleasantly surprised. If you'd asked me before that, I would say, boy, it'd be tough to beat the sitting governor. And, you know, the economy is doing well in Texas. But, you know, he had a tough primary race before, and there was a Tea Party type candidate in the race that did very well without money. So that tells you that there are some questions being raised about the governor.
Well, let's talk about money, because it is the mother's milk of politics. And you get your message out via interviews like this, but you have to buy ads somewhere down the road in order to get those people in, especially the early primary states, to get your message. And a lot of people listen to those 30-second ads. So do you have enough money to run your campaign for a month, 6 months, for a year? What do you have?
Well, if you ask me what the cash balance is right now, I don't know exactly, but it's probably well over $2 million. And we made a big order for radio ads out in Iowa right now. So we have started buying ads, but it seems like the last go around, we didn't even have to beg and plead or make phone calls. I've never made a personal phone call to ask for money. People get enthusiastic and they do send money. These money bombs that have occurred where we raise a lot of money are most of the time spontaneous and set up by people other than the campaign. So when the message gets out there that the campaign needs the money, most of the time it comes in. That's important and it's a challenge. But most important is for me to undertake the challenge of the status quo. So this is not just another politician running. I mean, I'm trying to really change things. I want the foreign policy change. I want the Federal Reserve change in monetary policy. And I truly want to balance the budget. So we're not just tinkering on the edges. We want some fundamental changes. So that is a bigger task. And I see my opposition being the opponents in the primary, and I lump them all together because I think they more or less, to one degree or another, just defend the status quo because they haven't taken the positions that I have on almost all the issues.
And that's was going to be my next question, which is, are you running against the other Republicans or are you running against President Obama? Because, well, which one is it?
Well, you're in the primary, you have to run against the opposition. But, you know, if they did some of that polling in the general population, it'd be amazing how much better my ratings are because some of the challenges I make, I'm really challenging the Republicans because they haven't been all that good on balanced budgets, and they certainly aren't good in watching where they're putting the troops around the world. But no, it's, in general speaking, I mean, the progressives, the people who don't like war and they like civil liberties, the Democrats are looking for somebody they can trust that really believes in freedom, not only economic freedom, but freedom for everybody. So I think that's where, if you did some polling, my ratings go way up. So we'll deal with that after we win the Republican primary.
Well, I think you're absolutely right about people don't. I mean, if you look at the polling about just Congress in general, it doesn't matter. People just don't trust the body, unfortunately, and it doesn't matter who's running the show. So when you get in, let's get into some of the policy issues, because jobs. The president says that when he gets up in the morning, when he goes to bed at night, jobs is the number one thing on his mind. If so, he's not doing. I mean, whatever he's thinking about isn't working. So, what do you suggest? How do you suggest we get more people? How do we get more people back to work in this country?
Well, you have to look at it fundamentally. You can't just say we need jobs, so we're going to spend some money or subsidize somebody or whatnot. You have to ask the question, why do we have a recession? Because you can't solve the problem if you don't answer the question. We have recessions because we have financial bubbles, and we have financial bubbles because we have a distorted economy due to Federal Reserve policy expanding the money and lowering interest rates below market rates so that people do all this malinvestment and building up all this debt. So in order to get growth again, you have to liquidate the mistakes, get rid of the malinvestment and liquidate the debt. And everything we've done in these last 4 years, just as we did in the Depression, we did everything to prop it up. So I would say you have to understand how we got here. You have to understand the business cycle. You have to understand that we need a correction. Then you get economic growth again. Then you need the capital come back. You need a strong currency to invite capital back into our country rather than chasing our businesses overseas and exporting our only real export, and that's our dollars that we print, and they're still taking them for some weird reason. So there's a lot we can do, but you have to have a fundamental understanding of the business cycle, how we got here, and why you need a correction in order to get the growth back again.